Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So this is Deck Report Season 4 week number 2. By the time you see this recording, this probably will be uploaded either on Friday or on Saturday. The main reason for that is because I am planning to play a different deck like this upcoming weekend, and this will probably be divided in two parts. But I kind of wanted to showcase what I piloted on Thursday. This is still a Maliss deck, but I think it's a little bit different from all the other Maliss versions that you're probably are familiar with. I am not playing Sky Striker cards. I am not playing Kashtira cards. I am playing Bestials, but I am playing like a few other things that are not really familiar here in the TCG. And I kind of just wanted to share the build of the deck because I think this is a really cool version of the deck. I think this version of the deck is a little bit underexplored. I think as the format progresses, this build of the deck might be a little bit more popular if people catch on to it. It does have a few weaknesses. This version of the deck is a little bit weaker to Artifact Lancea than other versions. But it's not the end of the world. There are still things you can do with the deck. This is a preliminary version of the deck. I still think that it can be perfected. But I'll go straight to the list. I'll go ahead and do explanations. I do have a special shout out that I have to give because this was inspired by an OCG player, which they showed me like their version of the deck, and yeah. Let's just get right into it. So, triple Dormouse, triple Rabbit, triple Cat. There are 3 cats in this build for a specific reason. Magnamoon, Baldrake, triple Druid's Worm, and I am playing Lubellion now. Meow Mine and Duskcaper. I'll save these 2 for last. Nibiru, Veiler, and Ghost Ogre. There are 2 monsters in here. I am going to show them in a little bit. If you probably already saw it if you were skimming through the deck. But triple Underground, triple Talents, double Allure of Darkness, 1 Gold Sarcophagus, 1 Terraforming, 1 Callback Grave, 1 Duster, 1 Branded Regained, and I'll save these 2 cards for later. These 2 are 2 spell cards. And the last 3 cards are the 3 Maliss Trap cards. Extra deck: Linger Evil, Clun Decoder, Liggerdos, Splash Mage, IP, SP, Heat Soul, Ramson, Binder, Cryptor, Access Code, Firewall, Neo Tempest, Packbit, and the Save Worm. Pretty much 90% of this is standard in Maliss by now. 3 Barrier, 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Lancea, triple Ash Blossom, triple Fuwalos. And there are 2 other cards that I did play at locals. I did play at this locals, but I'm deciding on cutting one of them and moving one of them to the side deck, and I will explain those cards in a moment. So, explanation of the deck. If you saw like most of the list, it looks like a typical pick. It looks like my first build of the deck involving like Lubellion, but there are 2 extra cards that are in here that are monsters, and those cards are Chaos Valkyria and Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Explaining these 2 cards means that you probably can guess what the spell cards are. And the spell card that we're talking about is Chaos Space. I will save this card for last. Uh, so I want to give a shout out to a special shout out. A special shout out goes to Kujo Karoya. Like I mentioned, she is an OCG player. She has been piloting the Malice deck for a while now, and she has shown like a lot of really cool things and ideas that she had with the deck. And the last build that she showed was a Chaos Space version. That is really really cool. Her version is a lot like potent than mine. For a couple of reasons. The number one reason is Fairy Tail Snow is still legal in the in the OCG, not in the TCG. Her build also plays the Horus cards. Her build is like super turbo gas, like with triple Allure, triple Silent Mining, triple Imseti, and a lot of few other miscellaneous cards. She also plays like the grass looks greener, which is very favorable for that build because she is playing like the Fairy Tail Snow, like I mentioned beforehand. So, what are the advantages and chaos and disadvantages of this build? Uh, the big disadvantage is that the deck is weaker to Lancea if you're playing this engine. But what's really cool about this version is that you can tutor really cool cards. Like these are the two main ones. The other one is Bestial Lobelion. And just for this event, I did play one of these two cards, and the card I was playing was the Chaos Creator. So I'm gonna swap these here, right here. So I guess I'll explain the really cool thing about Chaos Space. So Lobelion is a really good card. Like if you saw my first draft of the deck, like the preliminary build that I did of the deck, you saw that I was playing multiple Lobelions. I reached the conclusion that I want to see Lobelion, but I don't want to see multiple copies of it. And that's where the Chaos Space comes in. Because the Chaos Space, not only does it give value to your Malice cards by adding Lobelion, but it can also play Valkyria. And if you open or draw into light monsters, you can add either Levianeer or the Chaos Creator. And these are really good extenders. Like, Levianeer as a whole is really good because this is a blowout card. This card does like break a lot of boards. But if you open it turn 1, this card can also snipe a card out of your opponent's hand, which is very very helpful just to combo extend through hand traps. It does punish your opponent for like multiple hand trapping you. Like imagine your opponent hand trapping you like for 3 to 4 cards, and then you just use the Levianeer and just like push their own the only starter that they had in their hand back into their deck, and you just leave them top decking. So that's really good on this regard, and we are playing triple like talents, so like if you like start comboing off, your opponent hand traps you, and you open talents and Levianeer, like you're almost set to just winning that game because like not only are you diminishing their hands like entirely, but Levianeer also combo extends because it can banish your Malice cards, and that's really good on this regard. The really cool thing about Chaos Creator is that mid to late game, the Chaos Creator puts you in a scenario where you almost always win the grind game because you just start shuffling back your banished like either Malice monsters or your banished other resources that you used for this. And like this is really big, like 2300 attack is really strong, and this can start bringing back like really cool monsters. Like let's say for example, you summon the access code, and you end up banishing the access code just to get rid of a card. You can use the Chaos Creator and then just bring back the access code. So that's one really cool thing you can do. You can use Chaos Creator to put this back into the extra deck. You can bring back like other really cool monsters. Like there was one game where I bestial banished my own Terra Hordes and then I use the Chaos Creator to just bring back the terahertz. So that is one other thing that's really cool that you can do in this build. But yeah, I decided to cut the Chaos Creator solely for the purpose that it is a little bit harder to summon than the Levianeer. Levianeer only require it can require any amount of lights or darks. So even if you have no lights in your graveyard, you can just summon for Levianeer. However, if you are like sending for Chaos Space, you should have a light monster in graveyard anyway. So that's what makes both of these like very good options. So let's talk about Chaos Valkyria. So Chaos Valkyria is really cool because if you saw my build, you already saw that I'm playing 5 Bestials. This is essentially like another Bestial because you can just banish anything to just summon this. And Chaos Valkyria has the special effect where if she's banished, she can send a light or dark to your graveyard. Granted, you cannot use the effect of that monster this turn, but it's still really cool. So there is an OCG combo involving the Chaos Space and involves the Chaos Valkyria. So let's say, for example, you opened like this combination, right? Like it could be any Maliss monster. If you opened the cat and no other Maliss monsters or any other Maliss cards, you can just use any normal summon to perform this combo. But I'm just gonna show you the Dormouse Chaos Space combo real quick. So this is still in the deck. You use Chaos Space, you send the Dormouse, you add your Valkyria, you use Valkyria, banish, summon the banish the Dormouse. This is engrave. You use the Dormouse to special summon herself, and then you start doing like typical Malice stuff, like Dormouse banishes the rabbit, and then you use rabbit. Rabbit specials, rabbit sets from the deck. You're going to set the TB11. In this instance, you have to be mindful that both Malices got banished. I mean, were already banished this turn, so you can't just TB11 flip one of them for another for the third name. But what's really cool about like this scenario is that you can just link all 3 of these monsters together. You could either do that or you can do link decoder first. It really doesn't matter. Let's say, for example, you do the link decoder play. If you do the link decoder play, you are playing into Nibiru, so be mindful of that. But outside of that, it should be fine. So you use some link decoder. You can use these 3 and just summon the Ramson. You do Ramson's effect, you add the underground, and you can use the link decoder to special summon itself. So now we're at this point. So you still have your underground in hand. You have the link decoder here. You can TB11, banish the Ramson, summon cat from the deck, so here's the cat. Ramson special summon herself, and Ramson is going to banish Dotscaper, and then you go Dotscaper here. So we're at this point. So we're at this point of the combo. You still have your underground in hand. And this is where like combo starts going to differ from the OCG a little bit. So You have a plethora of options here, but the one that we're going to do at the moment is we're going to link away these three and summon Whitebinder. And then you do Whitebinder effect, and Whitebinder is going to banish the cat, the TB11, and the Chaos Valkyria. And now Chaos Valkyria triggers. So in the OCG, what you would send here would be Fairy Tale Snow. And Fairy Tale Snow just becomes like an interruption and follow-up in your next turn. And it becomes another extender. But since Fairy Tale Snow is forbidden in the TCG, there are other options. One option that we do have is you can send any of these hand traps. You can also send like the Meow Mine. I will explain that part of the combo. There is one other instance of another card, and that would be you can send any of your bestials, ideally Magnamut. So Magnamut is another one that you can send. You can also send the Lubellion. That's another thing you can send. For the sake of this explanation, I'm going to put Meow Mine separately because this is like another version of the combo, and we're just going to send the Magnamut. So we're sending Magnamut with the Valkyria, and we're going to special back the cat. So here's the cat, and now we're at this point. We still have these cards back in our deck. So now at this point, you use your Whitebinder to set GWC. So the GW trap. You're setting GW trap. So one version of the OCG combo, and that's the one Kujo Karoja does, is they grab the Ramson and the cat, and they make Nightmare Griffin in this zone. And what they end up doing is they use the GW6 to banish, special, and then resummon. And then they use the Nightmare Griffin to set back the GW. That's one version of the combo. The one that we're doing is we're summoning Firewall Dragon. And at this instance, you use the GWC, you banish the Whitebinder to resummon Ramson. And then in a separate chain, the Whitebinder comes back and you draw one card. So we're just going to grab one of these and put it here next to our Underground. So we still have Underground in hand. And then you use the Firewall Dragon to grab back the Magnamut. And you also grab back like any other card. Like, let's say for example you're grabbing the Magnamut and you're grabbing like Dormouse. So these two are in your hand. And then you use your Chaos Space to return Valkyria back to the deck. It could also be the Link Decoder. You can use any of those two. And then you draw another card. So, and then at the end of the combo, you can just grab these three and just turn them into the Tempest. and then use Tempest to send the save worm. And that is pretty much your end of your combo. So this is one of the combos that you end up doing with the Chaos Space. It's a 2-card combo, but you end with 5 extra cards, and you have a send for the Firewall Dragon for the Neo Tempest. And take note, you still have Bestial Magnumwood, so you can Magnumwood to banish your Whitebinder, and then Whitebinder resolves, Whitebinder specials. Then you can use Whitebinder to banish Ramson and the rabbit. You can also banish the cat if you wish to. So you just banish these 3, and then they get to resummon. And because of Whitebinder, you draw another card. So yeah, this is a very, very, very scary combo. Like, if everything resolves, you should outright just be winning the game at this point. But that's like the value behind Chaos Space. Let's go back to the scenario that involves the Meow Mine, because this is another version of the combo. So these are back in your extra deck. We're back at the Whitebinder situation. This is in our extra deck, this is in our graveyard. These 2 are still in our extra deck. We don't have all these cards yet. This card's in our graveyard. We're back at this situation. Magnumwood is still in our deck, and Chaos Valkyria is still in the banished. Well, it's still in our graveyard, rather, alongside the cat. This in our graveyard. And we're back at this situation where you summon the Whitebinder, and GW06 is still in our deck, and we have the Ramson on board. So we're back here at this instance of the combo, right? So with the Whitebinder, you're still banishing Cat, Trap, and the Chaos Valkyria. But with Chaos Valkyria, we're going to send the Meow Mine. Meow Mine's in our graveyard. And now the cat comes back as well as that. So we're here at this situation. You use Whitebinder to set 06. 06 is set. This Dormouse is in our graveyard. You have 2 options here. Either just make the Neo Tempest directly and keep the 06. Or another thing you could do is you do 06, you banish Whitebinder, and you just summon back any of your like Malisses or like any of your Malisses. So you can bring back like the Dormouse, for example. This goes to grave. You're using Whitebinder's effect, so special and draw. So we're here at this point. And then you can grab these 2. And it really depends whether or not you're still playing around Nibiru or not. One thing you can do is summon IP. Or instead of IP, you can summon Splash Mage. And you can use the Splash Mage to just bring back one of their Malices and grab these 2 and make Heat Soul. And then Heat Soul draws you a card. And then you can grab the Heat Soul and the binder and make Firewall. And then Firewall, grab back something to your hand, and you're still plussing. So if we go back to the IP one, which is like one of the better ones, in this instance, it could be IP or SP. It could be either or. You do SP if you're playing around Nibiru. That way, if they hold the Nibiru into the end phase, you punish them by banishing Binder and SP. And then like this goes to the graveyard, and then these two come back. If you don't care about the Nibiru, or you don't think they have it, you just make this board. And this turns into multiple interruptions, because what happens here is with the IP, you link away her and Binder to make the SP. And then not only does the SP trigger, you also have the Meow Mine. And Meow Mine, it can also bounce a card as part of your interruption. Which kind of gives you another layered disruption on top of the SP interruption. In this instance, you can SP, banish your Binder, Binder comes back, Binder banishes the Rabbit, Rabbit comes back, and then Rabbit can set TPO7. And TPO7 becomes an interruption, and then you TPO7, banish the Ransom, add and banish. So let's say, for example, you add another Rabbit, you banish something, and then Ramson comes back and banishes, like, for example, like another cat or another dormouse, and then that gets summoned. So a lot of pluses. But yeah, this is just me rambling about Chaos Space. Now that you saw the combo, we can go to these two cards that I still haven't explained yet. So let's go grab back the deck. But yeah, that's basically like one of the really cool things you can do with Chaos Space. I did not get to resolve that combo at all. I only drew Chaos Space once, and the one time I drew Chaos Space, it got my opponent activated Lancea. I still won that game, but I did not get to perform the really cool Levinian combo, sadly. So now that we're at this instance, and I explained like all the Chaos Space cards, let's go to the last two cards. The card that I decided to cut from the main deck would be Thrust. I did not get any Nibiru all day. I did not get summoned the Bestial against me all day. Nobody summoned Phantasme. Nobody summoned like Chaos Hunter. And I would have thought those cards would have been a little bit more popular, because Maliss is everywhere on my locals. There are like 4 to 5 people playing the deck now besides me. So this card was not really that helpful in the main deck. So in the future, I will move it to the side deck. And the last card I want to talk about, and this is another tech of mine, it's Monster Reborn. So I will probably make another video talking about Monster Reborn as a whole. But the really cool thing about Monster Reborn is that Uh, this card is an extender, but against specific decks, this card can also be a board breaker. If you're playing against the Fiendsmith deck, you can bait their Lacrima, you can bait their Requiem, you can bait their you can take their Engraver and use it to like Fiendsmith combo. You can take their Malice monsters and just combo off with them that way. You can take, if you're playing the Ryziel Mirror Mash, you can take their Ryziels and you can just combo off with them as well. And if you get hand tapped at a very specific point, this is just another extender. So I think eventually people will catch on to this. I think Monster Reborn is a worthwhile card for you to be playing in a deck like this one, where you just have a lot of extenders. It's a very combo heavy deck. And mid to late game, this just becomes a lot more powerful. Like, let's say for example, your opponent got rid of your Terahertz, and you're just playing the next turn. You can just reborn back your Terahertz and just play that way, and just try to finish the game. Like on that instance, there's not a lot of negates in the game right now besides like Desiree. So this card is very easy to like resolve. And take note, there is another version of Monster Reborn, which is the quick play one. I think that card is also very viable. But yeah, sadly I did not get to draw Monster Reborn a single time, so I cannot give you concrete like analogy on whether this card is good or not. But I do think it is a solid option. Heck, even against Dimension Shifter, you can activate this card and just take their Dimension Shifter and use it as an extender. So this card is not dead at any situation. It is something worth considering. So things that I changed from last list. I cut Senate Mining for Allure. I think this version of the deck is playing 16 Dark Monsters. It was 17 with the Chaos Creator, but it is exactly 40 cards with 16 Dark Monsters, so this card is most likely to resolve more than not. And the other really cool thing about Allure is that if you saw like my first video on Maliss, you probably already know where I'm coming from with this. But it is a card that works very, very well with Branded Regained. And in this case, it also works with Chaos Base. Because if you end up banishing Levianeer or Chaos Creator, and you have Chaos Base in graveyard, this is just gives you a third draw. And with Branded Regained is the same thing. If you resolve Allure and you have Branded Regain, you can just shuffle back and this just becomes like a draw 3. Which is very, very good for your engine. Every games 2 and 3, I kind of say this out because Lancea is everywhere. There is one game where I did not say this out. My opponent did not have Lancea. But sadly, this did not draw into my engine. It is part of the game. It's not it's not Allure's fault at all. I probably would not have felt as comfortable in this game, in that game, if this was Signet Mining. So moving forward, I think I still will play Allure. I did like the card today. I think this version of the deck is really, really cool. I think there is a lot of merit behind it. I don't think a lot of people have caught on to this version of the deck yet. And outside of Lancea, which the deck is already bad against anyway, I think this card is still, like, the card is not good into Lancea, but it's still good into any other hand trap interactions. And yeah, it's just a very fun card. But yeah, that has been it for my Maliss list. Again, I will put Kujo's channel in the description. She, like, again, her expertise with the Maliss deck did help me a lot in building this concept, and I think it's a lot of fun. It is different from a lot of Malice builds that you're seeing around, so that is one thing that to consider if you want to play something different, but you still want to play like this deck. And I think in the future, with proper tweaking and like moving more a few other non-engine cards in the deck, I think this version could take off someday. Maybe top the next YCS, or like maybe people will catch on, and this might actually end up doing very well in the format. I'm rambling at this point. Yeah. Until next time, keep practicing and keep dueling.